Hello, everyone. Welcome to another weekly live stream here on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be creating a little bit of mail art with all of you using one of the new stencils in my May 2026 release. So those of you who are watching in the chat, I've pinned a comment that says submit your address for mail art. Please go to that link. I think that'll work. In fact, I'm not really sure if it will still work. I'm going to check it right now just to make sure because I'm like, I don't know if that's still going to work. Hold on. Let me go check this right now. Oh, it still works. Okay, lovely. Yes, please go and check that. I'm going to be picking an address that is submitted, sometime in the next, 5 to 10 minutes. Once we get to the address portion, I'm going to need to be able to see an address to use. So just make sure that you're okay with me sharing your address during this live stream because it's going to be shown. So please make sure. Hold on. I'm making sure I have the spreadsheet pulled up so I can see all of your submissions. Okay. Yeah. Yes. I see the recent ones that have just come in. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to, all right. So I'm going to be using one of my new stencils. Let me grab it. I have it hiding over here. I'm going to be using the Splash stencil. I thought it'd be really fun to create an envelope using this because it's a very abstract and sometimes you just don't want to cover up your pattern, with a greeting or whatever. So we're going to cover it up with an address. So kind of changing one problem for another, but you can kind of see like this is just some like digital mock-ups that I did using the stencils. But let's look at a few cards that I made using the stencils for this month because I think they're so fun. In fact, I might have a poll for you guys here in a minute. So it's one of my bigger stencils. So I was able to make 2 cards out of this one design. See how they kind of fit together? But you can overlap all of the different very organic and irregular shapes in the stencil to create what looks like it could be like a watercolor background or an alcohol ink background or something like that. Here's another one where I did some other colors and just let them kind of overlap. I think it's so fun and just different, really different than what we've been able to do with stencils. And then this one, which almost seemed to be like the favorite when I showed these over at Instagram, all black and white. Isn't that so dramatic? I love that. I think that's so pretty. I really only used one color of ink for this. I just used black and it worked out so well. So maybe we'll take a little poll here. Excuse me while I grab my keyboard so I can do a poll. And then we'll know what we're doing here. Hold on 1 minute. I'm just going to have you guys choose. I do have a color palette picked out, but if we want to change it up, we can. Okay. Hold on. Okay, there's the poll. You guys let me know whether you want it to be colorful, like super colorful, or if you want it to be like black and white. So just whatever, because some people were like really loving the whole black and white idea. So, we can deal with that. Maybe look at this way. Maybe it's the envelope is black and white and then the address is really colorful, like the name and address is really colorful. Or if it's really colorful, then we're going to have the address and the name in black and white, probably one or the other. So kind of we'll swap them around that way. It's looking like colorful is winning by far. So I think that's what we're going to have to do. So even though the poll hasn't been open for very long, I'm going to go ahead and end it because it's pretty stacked. It's going for colorful. So I'm just going to go ahead and end that. And then we'll get going on the addresses or on the envelope. I'm just making sure I have, okay, I still have my address pulled up. Okay. All right. So you can do ink blending like this on like a regular white envelope, but it probably won't hold up as well to all of the ink. So I'm going to be creating my own envelope out of just some Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. This is one of my favorite ways to do an envelope. Now, I'm going to be doing an envelope for an A2 card. I normally like to do A7 or 5x7 cards just because it gives me a little more real estate to work with. But I don't have this cardstock in the size to make it for a larger envelope. So we're constrained to an A2 envelope. I'm going to be using my 123 punch board from We Are Memory Keepers. I apologize. They don't sell this color variation of this punch board anymore. The new one is white. I don't have it. Some people say that it's a little bit hard to read the numbers on. Okay, so I'm looking over here on the board here to look up the measurements. So for an A2 card right here, it says your paper size should be 8 1/4 inch. And then you're going to be scoring on the punch guide at 3 5/8. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So here's my 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 cardstock. And then what it means, that second measurement, is I'm going to bring the corner, the top left corner of my square cardstock. I'm going to bring that over to 3 5/8. That's the measurement that it has for an A2 card. And then I'm taking the bottom groove over here and I'm going to be scoring. Kind of have to feel for it, let it catch. I'm going to score that up to the top and then give that a punch. All right, now I'm going to take where this scoring line is and I'm going to line it up right here. You see where it says envelope score groove? I'm just going to line it up right there. And you kind of feel when it kind of locks into place. Give that a punch. Then I'll score over here. All right. One more time. Should line up exactly where we were before at the beginning because this is a square piece of cardstock. So I'm just double checking. It is 3 5/8. Give that a punch. Okay. Then we'll come over here and rotate it one more time to get that fourth side. All right, I'm going to score it from that bottom score line. And here we have our basic envelope all scored. I'm not going to assemble it until I have all of my ink blending done. I mean, I guess we could cover the entire thing with ink blending. I was thinking of just doing the front, but I guess we could just cover the entire thing. That would be kind of fun. No, well, we'll do this because then I can be sure to isolate exactly what I want for the envelope itself. So, oh, and there's all the little punches. Throw those away. You know, I was thinking of not assembling it until after I'm done, but now I'm double, like I'm second guessing myself. I think I do want to assemble it because then I don't have to rip up these flaps and then it can just ink blend off the sides. So I'm going to grab some tape. This is like some tape from Lawn Fawn. And when I'm going to assemble this, I'm just going to be putting adhesive right here and right here. So I'm kind of taking note of where that overlaps. I'll just put that in right there. I don't go all the way. Do you see where it ends there? I don't go all the way to the end, especially when I'm closing the envelope, because if you do that, it's really hard to open the envelope. You need to leave a little opening at each corner so the person can like slide an envelope opener or some scissors underneath to get the envelope open. I open a lot of envelopes for mail call, and sometimes it can be kind of frustrating when the DIY envelopes are completely shut up like Fort Knox. Like I can't get in them. And I'm afraid to like just start cutting the side, thinking I'm going to like cut their card. So anyway, just a little note for y'all. All right, I'm gonna reinforce these folds before I adhere everything down. Maybe I will have the pattern or the background extend on the flap. I think that could be really pretty. So now I just have to peel these up. Y'all, it is so warm. I think the high today where I live is 91 degrees. I'm gonna turn on my little fan. There we go. I have a little remote for it. It's lovely. And it's just desktop. You might be able to hear it a tiny bit. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll just have the fan on for a little bit and then we'll turn it off here in a bit when my eyes start to dry out. That's what happens. Okay. All right. I'm going to grab my Altenew grip mat. I totally forgot to put this in the supplies, but that's what I'm using right here. Altenew 9x12 grip mat. All right, and here is our envelope. I'm just gonna stick it down and it's just gonna live there while we do all of our ink blending. So here are the colors I'm going to be using. They're all new colors from Concord and Ninth, except for Eggplant. That one's an older one. It's an original color. These colors in particular, in fact, I might even add one more in, were inspired by this color palette from this card. This actually has one more. It has Harbor or Powder, I think, in it right here. Maybe I will go grab Powder, but I just loved this color palette. And I thought the colors, being that they're all next to each other on the color wheel, that they would overlap really well. Like if you're going to be overlapping colors that are opposite from each other on the color wheel, where they overlap, you're probably going to get like a dark gray or like a brown or a mud color. And generally when you're overlapping really colorful colors, you don't want that. Sometimes you might, but most of the time you don't. So to keep everything safe and make sure it overlaps really well, you can do colors that are next to each other on the color wheel and it works really well. Okay, I'm gonna grab Harbor. Actually, we'll do Powder. Yeah, we'll do Powder. I'm gonna grab Powder and then we'll get to all of the ink blending. There's Powder. It's a super, super light blue. Okay. All right, I'm gonna grab my, this isn't in my supply list either. This is the ink stand and it's perfect because it will hold my ink pads while I do all my ink blending. Let's start with Powder. And I've also selected a couple other stencils that I might bring in, I might not, but I thought it'd be fun to bring in some dots. So I might add in some, a little bit of these stencils. We'll see how it goes. All right, gotta set aside that punch board. And here are all of the stencils. There are 5 stencils in the pack. You can kind of see there's some really interesting shapes. Some of them look like a map. Like this one to me, I know it's not at all, but it makes me think of like England and Scotland and Ireland, like the British Isles. It looks like it'd be on a map. And over here, it's like, oh, that's got to be a country somewhere, right? That's got to be a country. You guys, I scribbled them out. They're not based on anything. I promise. Okay, let's try. Let's see. I'm just going to bring this in right here, right on the side. I'll let the grip mat hold the stencil really well. The other thing that you might want to have on hand as you're ink blending is, and where is mine? Oh, here it is. Some masking tape or Post-it tape. Just like a couple strips, because sometimes you're going to get kind of close to the edges of the stencil, like I am right here. And you're going to want to mask that off. Perfect. Take a little drink of water. Hey, Dana. Okay. All right, today I'm using some new blending brushes to me. I used them when I was at Jennifer McGuire's house a few weeks ago. These are the small blending brushes from Simon Hurley. It's like the perfect size between my other two favorite blending brushes. This is the Pink Fresh 1-inch blending brush and then the Altenew mini blending brushes. Then there's this like individual, like middle size from Simon & Hurley, and it's lovely. It's great for when you're wanting to do areas like this that you're going to have like 2 different colors, but you want a soft blend. So that's what I'm going to use. And this is my blue blending brush. It seems silly to use it on this super, super light blue. So I'm going to grab, do I have some scrap cardstock here somewhere? I just have some paper that I've used for some die cutting. Let's see if I can get some of that ink off. Yeah, I got a little off. That's okay. Okay. Adding, and if it has a little bit of that dark blue in there, that's okay. Yeah, it's got a little bit of the dark blue in there. So the idea behind these stencils is you want to get like you want lots of areas to overlap, and but you also don't want to have so much color on your project that when you do overlap, like nothing can really show. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to start with that blue down here, and then I'm going to switch to a different color. Let's switch to Aster. It's a new ink pad. It doesn't want to open. And I'm going to grab a new blending brush. Yeah, I'm just going to, brand new one. I do have a purple one, but I'm going to use that for Eggplant. So, all right, I'm going to overlap these just a little bit. Oh my word, I love those colors overlapped. Oh. They make such a beautiful blue purple, a blurple when they overlap. Okay, so I'm going to blend in just 2 colors. I think if I added a third, it would be a little busy on this portion, so I'm not going to worry about it. But then I'll remove this. I'm going to save my Post-it tape because I can reuse it. I'll lift this up. There we go. So there's our first little organic shape. I'm going to use the same stencil and just rotate, and maybe we'll have maybe we'll just do this little, well, no, we need something to come across the middle here. We'll do this. Okay, so it's going to be overlapping this purple right here, and we already have blue down here. So maybe we're going to do Berry Kiss along this edge. I think that could be really nice. Okay, I'll grab my pink blending brush. Oh, we need some Post-it tape. Okay. So I'm going to start up here. And I'm just going to try to catch these edges. Like you want the edges to be a little bit more intense and then blend off to like practically nothing. Okay. Maybe I'll add a little more up here. Get those edges. All right, and then let's switch to Capri up here. Have a little blue. Maybe we'll even do a little Capri and then up to Eggplant since this is such a large area. Oh my word, my new ink pads are hard to open. Have you guys noticed that? They're so hard to open. You know what? I am going to start. I'll do a new blending brush for the light blue. I'm going to have this other one for the dark blue. Okay, we're going to do, let's see. The blue's already down here. Actually, maybe I'll just have it be one color and I'll have the Capri up here. I do want them to overlap just a little bit. Oh gosh, Capri is such a pretty color. And you don't have to worry about like filling in like a huge big space, because that's what you're going to do when you overlap with other colors. It's going to be great. All right, I do want to come in and get a little more intensity of color right through here. But I think that looks pretty good. All right. Now let's see how we did. Like sometimes you just don't know. Like, how are these going to overlap? Are they going to look good next to each other? You don't even know. Ooh, I like it. Hold on. I know my hand's blocking it. Look how cool that looks. All right, I'm going to grab, oh, where's my alcohol? My little spray bottle of alcohol. Oh, it was hiding. Found it. Okay, so it looks like a lot of that Aster up here kind of got hidden by all of that. So I'm like making a mental note. The next time I use Aster, I want to preserve more of it. You know? Okay. Just cleaning off this stencil just in case we want to use it later. Okay. Grabbing another stencil. This one is like really big. It's got a lot of different edges and corners that we can use. So I'm thinking maybe maybe we'll just do a nice big section of this flap right up there. And we'll have, maybe we'll do this whole section in Aster. I think that's a good idea. All right, so I'm coming in with my Aster. This is far enough away from the edge that I think I'm safe to just come in and start blending without the masking tape or the Post-it tape. All right, I'll have that be Aster. And then let's bring in some Eggplant. We haven't had any Eggplant yet. That one opens up like a dream because it's one of the older ink pads. All right, and then we'll just, I think my Eggplant needs to be re-inked. I just want that like moody purple up there at the top. We'll have that overlap with something else here in a minute too. Clean off this stencil the best that I can so I can lift it up. Okay. Ooh, Melissa just got the complete C9 ink pad set. Nice. All right, I'm gonna switch to a different stencil. I'm gonna wipe this one, spray and wipe it down. All right, let's switch to this one. This one has some smaller sections like this one right here. I think maybe we'll just have like a little bit coming in on this side, about like right there. And let's do that in Berry Kiss. Just bring in a little bit of that pink up in there. We've only got pink right here, so having it up there is a good idea. So I'm just grabbing this edge. All right. Oh, before I move on, I'm gonna wipe that stencil. There we go. Now it's not just like a big, huge purple blob up there. Wipe that down. All right, and then, wondering about some other shapes. Grabbing some other stencils. Let's try this one. Maybe we'll have it. We need something that's like right across the middle. I also want to like keep some white gaps. So this part right here and down here, I think that'll work well. All right, this is really close to the edge of the stencil, so I'm going to make sure I use that Post-it tape there. That one's kind of far away, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, color-wise, what do I want to do? I'm thinking let's bring in some of the Berry Kiss right here, and then maybe... I'm thinking Berry Kiss and then to Aster, and then we'll bring in something else at the bottom too. So just getting some nice blend going here. Another kind of technique or thing we can do that's in our arsenal is we don't have to do a really dark amount of ink. Like, I think I'm just going to leave this like a really pale pink down here at the bottom. I'm not going to accentuate the edge. And that'll make it so that we have a little bit of a difference in color. Ooh, we haven't done powder again. Let's go back to powder. Let's do powder instead of Aster. We'll do powder. Okay. And this time I'm using a clean blending brush. So it should be a little bit more powder-like. Yeah, there we go. I've got to get lots of ink here because I accidentally stamped my brush down right there. But I find that when I accidentally do that, if I just add more ink, it starts to disguise it. So it's not that big of a deal. All right, we'll get that kind of overlapping and the color changing a bit. If you have not submitted your address for mail-R and would like to be considered to be the recipient of tonight's envelope, and you have to be okay with your address being shown, go to the link that's pinned in the comments right now or at the top of the video description and submit your address. All right. I really think I have a favorite stencil in the stencil set, which is ridiculous, but it's this one. It's the first one we did. I just love that there's so many different shapes. Okay, let's do... I think we could have this. No, just kidding. We're going to do about like that. And I don't think we even need to put any Post-it tape down because, well, maybe right there. Okay, I'm thinking maybe, let's see. What do I want to have overlap right through here? Maybe I'll have powder overlap through this area, and then I can have Capri on this other side. It probably won't show the overlap as much on these dark areas underneath, but I still think it could be an interesting kind of look. It's almost like you really can't go wrong when you're ink blending with these stencils because everything is just so random looking, you know? Love that I'm getting a lot of like this overlap purple situation down right here. Okay, we've got a little of that blue going. Trying to get a little more of that powder. Okay, now let's switch to Capri. And actually, you know what? I do need that. I do need that Post-it tape right up there. Okay. we'll have that Capri overlap the Aster up there in that corner. I think that like dark indigo color is going to be really pretty, kind of overlapping. Okay, I think this is a great opportunity to add in those polka dots I was talking about. I think I'm only going to use the Gradual Dots stencil pack. And I'll just grab one of the stencils. I kind of want to get a little bit of a, like just a polka dot pattern going there. So maybe I'll stick that down. And then I'm going to take my Capri and kind of go over the top there and just start to get a little bit of that polka dot pattern. Okay. Oh yeah, that looks cool. Get a little more right here. That looks really cool. I like that. All right. Ooh, I like the polka dots. I'm thinking like when we add something down right here and maybe down here, we'll add more polka dots. All right, I'm on my little spray bottle of alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is almost out. I'm like, save it. Okay, I'm going to turn this stencil and we'll do just this little corner right here. And I think, let's see, do we want to do eggplant? Yeah, I think eggplant could be a good one because we don't really have much eggplant down here. It's all in the back of the envelope or on the flap. So we'll come back in with eggplant. My eggplant ink pad really does need to be re-inked. We'll get just a nice edge on the eggplant. And then grabbing my little polka dots, and maybe we'll use the large polka dots this time. And I'm just going to go over that area once again to get that texture from the polka dots. I'm not adding much ink to my brush. I'm just letting it kind of put a small amount. Okay, so that's just a really small amount of polka dots. All right, spray that with my rubbing alcohol. Seriously, I'm like down to like the tiniest bit. I'm like, oh no, I'm glad I'm almost done with my stenciling. All right. Ooh, that's looking really cool. Okay, let's add something to this corner and then maybe a little bit up here for some more polka dots. But can't believe I'm getting a little more spray out of that. That is crazy. All right. Switching up stencils. Yeah, we'll do just this little guy right down here in this bottom corner. And I think we said we were going to do Berry Kiss on this one. Is that what we said? Oh, do I want berry? No, I think I just want more Aster. Okay. And I'm just going to grab the edge there and keep it really light, because then I can bring in the polka dots. All right, and let's do kind of a medium polka dot. Okay. Ooh, I like that. I like the polka dots are kind of going in different directions. Okay. Oh, I love that. Okay, and then let's do, I feel like we need some polka dots on the flap. So maybe we don't even do a full amount of color, but we do the polka dots just over the top, but in one of the organic shapes. So maybe we do like that. And then we'll do kind of medium polka dots. And let's do it in, I think we just stick with Aster. I think that'll work. And we'll get a nice kind of blend of color. This like purple that's coming out right here, like the Aster on top of Capri. Oh, it's my favorite. Okay, let's just lift this up and see how we're doing. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, maybe I do want to have just a little of that Aster to kind of accentuate the edge of the shape. Okay. I think that's going to be really nice. I like how that overlapped. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I feel like at that area right there, it just needs a little ink blending, I think, because it's just like so stark white. It does need some areas to breathe. I think we're okay. I'm also thinking in my head, okay, the person's name is going to be kind of big right across this center area. So I'm not too concerned about stuff right in there. I think we'll be fine. All right. Y'all, my last little bit of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, has survived. I didn't have to stop and refill in the middle of a live. Success. Okay, now I need to go pick out an address. And don't worry, Diana, I saw your text on my watch. Diana's like, oh crap, I didn't realize you were going to be using a person's address. Like, please disregard my address submission. No worries, I got you. All right, just going to finish cleaning this up here. Okay, that envelope looks really cool. I love that. I think it needs that one card that is the same colors. Okay, I should probably clean this first before I move on. Hold on. Okay, grabbing a baby wipe. Yeah, I'm glad I cleaned this up. Okay. Ugh, look at that. I swear every time I clean that off, I'm like, I didn't use that color. And I'm still cleaning it off. Okay. To get my little Post-it ready for when I pick out the address, so I can write it down. All right, I'm going to come pick an address. All right. I think I'm just going through, just finding someone how about, sometimes I like to look at like the street name, and I'm like, oh, that's a fun street name. Okay, how about Cynthia in Henderson, Nevada, who's on Bluegrass Lane? Isn't that a fun street address? I love that. I might do just Cynthia's first name. I'm not entirely sure. Delia, yes, you know Mahjong's going to be happening. Okay. Making sure I'm getting the address down correctly. I'm also marking it in my spreadsheet so I know that's the one I did. Lovely. Okay. Michael Scott Drive. There was someone who submitted an address from Michael Scott Drive. How did I miss that? Oh, I don't see one. Oh, there it is. Teresa. Well, I might have to consider that one in the future because that's a fun address too. I also like to do P.O. boxes because I know some people who don't know what I do here. They're like, why are you putting people's addresses on blast? And they get all upset. And I'm like, read the room. I'm doing an envelope. You know, like, and it's real. Okay, let me grab my acrylic markers. Because I think these are going to be great for this. And do I have a gold? I don't know if I have a gold. I think gold would be pretty. Is that what that is in there? I think it might be. It is. Okay, well, I'm bringing this other pen over just in case. But here are my Grabie acrylic markers. If you guys love stuff like this, I do mail art with my Supporter Plus members here at YouTube. It is the $10 level. And I do it once a month. There's a live, and those lucky ducks, they get to submit their address to my spreadsheet. It's a special one just for them. And it just increases your chance of an envelope being made with your address. Because it's a much smaller group. I want to say maybe like 30 people. There's not very many of them. We're a small group and we love it. Okay, so Cynthia, I'm thinking, well, first of all, let's pick out some postage because I want to make sure that her name and address don't like run into where the postage is, because that would be super sad that the postage covers up the name and address. So let me grab my postage options. Looking for my newer ones and also old stamps. I usually have to go through my binder that is sorted by color. I have not sorted my stamps in ages. So yeah, I only have, like, I have not updated my stamp collection. The ones that need to be sorted are in these two big zippy bags. Okay, so let's go through this one really quick. Ooh, this is cool. What is that? An elderberry longhorn? That kind of matches. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's one really random one right off the bat, but that's kind of cool. Okay, Cynthia, are you in the chat? Do you have a thing against bugs? Let me know, because this would be a time to say something if you do not want it. Okay, I'm just going to flip through these. Most of these in this pouch were donated by a very kind viewer who sent me portions of her own postage stamp collection. Oh, this one is kind of cool. Those purples. I love that, like, postage stamps are kind of like a little time capsule. They're just, love it. Andrea, bugs? No, I'm glad I'm not getting this. Well, I might find something I like better, but right now I think that's kind of cool because the colors kind of look like it. Let's see here. I'm not really seeing any like super colorful things that are popping out at me. But that doesn't mean they're not here. It just means I haven't looked at it yet. Okay. I wasn't real hopeful with this bag. Because I kind of know what's in this one. Okay. I'll keep that bug one out just in case. Just not roaches. What bug is that? We don't have roaches here in Utah. And we also don't have scorpions, even though we are considered desert. So I think it's kind of great. We don't have huge bugs here. It's one of my most favorite things about where I live. Okay, here's one that I think might have some more colorful options. Oh yeah, do you see this peeking out right here? Hello. Okay, stop. Stop it. I almost want to just like, let's just put 3 of these John and Lennon stamps on here and call it a day. Like these bottom 3. That would look really cool. I think for sure one of these at least. But let's pick out some other stamps. And they can be full-on vintage. That, like, you know, because that's a forever stamp. We won't need to worry about hitting a particular postage. Okay, these Maryland ones, those are good. Those are really good. Okay, let's do a Maryland one because that purple really goes well. And then if we do a John Lennon, we're doing celebrities. We're doing celebrities now. We have a theme. We have a theme. Do we need Sinatra? That could kind of match too. We have a theme. Actually, let's not do another celebrity. Let's just do one of the color ones that matches. And I have an idea of where I can find those. I don't think I even need to look much more in this stack of postage stamps. This is definitely one that needs to be organized. Oh, wait, what was that down there? What was that purple thing? Oh, not the vibe. Okay. All right, I'm going to put this back in the... Oh, what are these? Oh, okay. Oh, Grace Kelly. And I like that it's kind of a little more quiet. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep one of those out. I also really love this. Oh my word, those are $1. That's like postage overkill. Okay. All right, I like the Grace Kelly. Marilyn and Sinatra together? Well, I thought about it. But I think I like the great... Well, now you're making me... No, I think I'm going to stick with this one. Although I do like those Sinatra ones. It makes me think of that show Paradise. There was a character on it who was... Her nickname was Sinatra. Yeah, I like the Grace Kelly better. Okay. I'm going to put these back in my little zippy guy. And then I'm going to take one glance through my postage album that has them organized by color. Because I think we'll find just a nice vintage one to go on here. And I'm thinking the pink purple section. Yeah. Zoom out a little bit here. What is this? Oh, Betty White. Oh, that's a good purple one too. Okay, because like this like pinky purple vibe is gorgeous. Cynthia, tell me something about yourself, because maybe we can find something that is very specific to you. Like, do you like electronics? You don't live in Florida, you're in Nevada. Are you in the medical field for honoring those who helped fight polio? That's what this one is. I love this like purpley color on some of these postage stamps. Oh, you know what? My mic's picking up my fan because I stood up. Hold on. Dana just texted me. She's like, your mic's picking up a wind sound. Thank you, Dana. I'm just, until I sit back down, I'm going to have to be here in the heat. That's okay. All right. Okay. Oh, stop it. Elvis. Come on. Are we going for a 4-part celebrity? Come on. There we go. Well, I hope my mic fixed itself. Okay. I really like that, but I was kind of hoping for more just like full-on vintagey looking. I mean, it is vintage, but I think that's going to be the winner. I think we're doing Elvis. Elvis it is. All right, I've got to put these postage stamps back, and then I could turn the fan back on. I could also just, adjust the thermostat, but because my, unfortunately, my craft room is on the, the windows face the sun in the afternoon. So it bakes in here. I'm in an oven. Okay, let me turn my fan back on. Do you still hear it in the mic? You guys let me know. I'm also going to adjust the thermostat on my phone. Hold on. There we go. We just had our AC switched. Or not switched. Hello. I just read that on the Penny's comment, say switch to computer. We just had our AC fixed this morning. It was broken, and I almost had to cancel my live because let me tell you, it was in the 80s in my craft room yesterday in the afternoon. Whew. Okay. I mean, it was terrible. All right. So let's get these postage stamps on here. And I like that order that I was doing them in a minute ago. So where's my little postage stamp stuff? There it is. And a little bit of scratch paper. Actually, I'll do a glue stick because I want to make sure the stamp doesn't pull up. I get the glue. There we go. You didn't know phones had thermostats? Well, they're those smart thermostats that connect to your home's Wi-Fi, and then you can adjust your thermostat from your bed or toilet. You can be in the bathroom and you're like, it's a little cold. And then I'm going to adjust the thermostat. Or it's a little warm. Okay. Which John Lennon do we like? I'm thinking this one right here. That's definitely the one. Those John Lennon stamps are in high demand. But you know what? They're to be used. I know some people just collect stamps, because they're a little piece of artwork in and of themselves. I collect them, but I also use them. Okay, glue that down. And then we have our Elvis. These are actual stamps, Shannon. And I put these envelopes in the mail as is, and they arrive. There are people in the chat right now who have received some of my envelopes. and they can attest to the fact that they do arrive safely. All right. Oh, I love those postage stamps. They work so well. Okay, so now we're going to do Cynthia's name. And I'm thinking, I think it's going to be like a thick white lettering and then black around the outside edge. And then we'll do like some black bars, like black rectangles, and then put her street address on it. I'm just shaking up this marker. Delia's was so fun to create because I used acrylic paint on it. Okay. Leanne, that's right. I sent you an envelope too. Okay, here we go. I'm just like kind of figuring out where, okay. And it's not going to be very noticeable right now because I've got to do the black. Yeah. Centered. Love that for us. We love that for us. Okay. I think I might change where the C starts. That's okay. And then we'll do like that. Okay. Won't be able to really see it at the moment, but once we get the black on there, we'll be good. Okay. I'm going to hit this with my heat tool just to speed up the drying of the white because I don't want the white to smudge when I put the black on. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to be going around and adding a black border around all of this. And then I'm going to go back over it, over the writing with the white pen again. And so if it's not like getting into those little tiny crevices, that's okay because I'll go back over it with the white. I go right down in there. It looks a little weird right now, but it'll start to look better, I promise. Okay, where exactly did that go? I think it was like right there. Ooh, I also need a dot for the eye, so we'll just add that in right there. Yeah, it's going to be like really not perfect right now. But when I come back in and do her name again in white, it will look better, I promise. Like right now, we're just getting the basic outline. And then once I have the white lettering back on here, I can come back and kind of clean up any edges that need a smoothing out. Because right now it's looking really blobby. And I'm thinking I could zoom in. One of my pet peeves is when people are crafting live and they don't zoom in. I'm like, you guys, if you can zoom in on your camera, zoom in. People need to see it. Okay. I really do love this black marker. It's so black and it's just smooth and dreamy. Okay. All right, any other spots I need to grab? I'm thinking that'll probably do it, but I just need to smooth out a few of these edges. Okay, I'm gonna hit this with my heat tool again, and then I'll go back over in the white. Or I could go over with that gold. Remember how I was considering doing that gold? Let's see what the gold looks like. Where's my scratch paper that I was using before? Let me see here. The gold could be really pretty. Maybe not. Maybe I'll stick with my original plan. But I do have another white pen that I could use if I need to. If this one's not going to be as bright white as we need. Oh, got a little droplet of the white. Where's my baby white? Glad that didn't go on the envelope. Come out, little baby white. There we go. Okay. Let's try this. It's not as bright white as I would hope, but it's not the end of the world because you can layer these acrylic markers. You just have to let it dry. There, that's looking a little better. Let's get this a little thicker up here. We're getting there. Do I paint my nails, yours, Preston? I paint my nails. I have some much older videos showing how I paint my nails, if you are interested in searching that up or searching that out. Okay. The only part that's really bugging me is right through here, so I might need to fix that up with a little bit of black marker. Just because it got kind of thick. Okay. So I will use the black marker and kind of fix up those little areas. And I also, like, there are some areas that I needed to bring the black out a little more. Especially like right up through here. I mean, we're getting kind of close to John up there and also to Grace. So I'm just gonna do the best I can right there. Oh, I need to do the crossbar on the T as well. I need to fix this. But I also think I'm gonna bring that black up and we'll make the there we go, just cleaning up that area just a tiny bit. This is where the perfectionist side of me starts coming out. Because I'm like, it's not perfect. All right. We'll get this little guy. And then I do want to do one more layer of white right here because it's not completely opaque. Okay, not bad. Just gonna fix that up right there. Of course, I have to have a little wobble right there at the end. There we go. All right. Okay, I think I can live with that as I'm still fixing it. Okay, so as far as Cynthia's address goes, I think I'm just going to do like a couple of black bars down here at the bottom, and then I'll use a white gel pen to write on her address. No, Pam, you don't have to. The post office does prefer if you have the person's last name, but you don't have to have it. They'll still deliver it as long as there is a legible like address. Then they will deliver it. Okay, I'm trying to think. Bluegrass Lane. Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna go all the way over. Then let's see, Henderson. Okay, yeah, I think I can do it like this. Okay. Hit that with my heat tool, and then we'll come in with a white gel pen. Okay, and now I have my white Jelly Roll pen. And a tip for getting these pens to work, if yours is not, is to like use the heat of your hand and just get the ink flowing on your hand. And I mean, it wipes off. It's easy. This is when we all hold our breath and hope that Christina doesn't misspell anything. First of all, Cynthia, please verify that this is your address. Like, please let me know if it's not, because it is, it's happening right now. All right, Cynthia, I'm going to continue, but hope it's correct. I love when I can anticipate the right length. Yes! That is true. I could have go over it with the black if I needed to redo it, Pam. That is very true. Oh, I don't have much space for the zip code. I think I'm going to have to extend it just a little bit. Let's see, yeah. Just the teeny tiniest bit. There we go. I think that'll be enough, but I do have to dry it. Okay. Lovely. Oh, I guess I have to put my return address, don't I? I guess I need to do it. I need to do my return address. Okay. How much space do I need? Is that about right? Sure. My full name and my mailbox address are like the same length. It's kind of crazy. Okay. Let me dry this one. Yes, Andrea. I thought the same thing. Vegas. Mm-hmm. I'm like having a moment where I'm not remembering my mailbox. Okay, 78. I need more black for my zip code too. Yeah, we squeezed it on. We're good. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is give this envelope its best shot at not getting completely destroyed in the mail when it comes in contact with any moisture. So I'm going to be using, just putting my pens away, I'm going to be using some Distress Micro Glaze. It is right here, Distress Micro Glaze. This product is the consistency of like a lip balm, and it goes on and it coats the entire envelope. And then once it dries and soaks into the paper, it sort of gives it a little bit of some moisture resistance. I like to say it's not going to save the envelope if it gets dropped in a bucket, but it might save it if a little bit of moisture comes in contact with it. So it's just, it kind of seals it and all that. Now, when you use this product, do not put it over the postage stamps because it makes it so the post office can't cancel the stamps. Sometimes they're very, very kind to the people who receive the envelopes, and they don't put any markings over the stamps themselves. Sometimes they'll just put a sticker at the bottom, and it'll have the little barcodes and stuff. It just really depends. Okay, so I'm just using a round mini blending tool for this. And you just come in and you start adding it over top. And the first time I used micro glaze, I thought for sure it would just smear everything, but it doesn't. It's kind of amazing. The ink I use for my ink blending in particular, like the inks from Concord and Ninth, they are not permanent. They will react with water. So it's very important to do this step. I mean, we did cover up a lot of the background with the name and address, but I still think a lot of it is showing and it looks really cool. So after you've applied the micro glaze to like everywhere all over the project, then you take a paper towel, scrunch it up, and you're just going to kind of like buff it into the paper the best you can. And also that removes any excess. So it works really well. And it usually picks up a little bit of the color, but you can't even tell. Like, look at that. It picked up a little bit of the black, but you can't tell. All right. So now I'm going to keep continuing buffing this. Now it's going to have, like, in particular for about 24 hours as it dries, it's going to have like a very glossy kind of, not glossy, but just like satin finish over the cardstock. And then in about a day, I've noticed it soaks all in, and then it is water resistant. So you don't want to stick this in the mail right away. You want to wait a couple days. Now, I'm notorious for not mailing these very timely. In fact, I've still got envelopes from March that need to go out. So Cynthia, I apologize in advance. You might be waiting a while for this. And I've also noticed that even when I do mail them, because they are a little special looking, sometimes the machines, the automatic readers at the post office can't pick up on it right away. And so these end up having to be like hand canceled and stuff. So they do take some extra time as well. So that's just to say, don't do like a really crazy envelope design when you need your card to get to the recipient very quickly. You know, give it like a couple of weeks. So if you're doing it for someone's birthday, send it early. That's all I'm saying. Okay, before I finish up with this and I set it aside, I am going to put my tape just on the flap. And remember, I'm not going all the way to the corner. I'm going to leave a gap. And this is so that when the envelope is dry and I'm ready to mail it off to Cynthia, I don't have to dig out my tape. I can just have it all ready to go. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it is called non-machinable, but technically I would not say that this is non-machinable at this moment. It's a little busy, but the address is legible. It is parallel to the long end of the envelope. The envelope's not square. I mean, it depends on what card I put in it. If the card is kind of lumpy, bumpy, maybe it would be non-machinable, but I'm thinking I'll probably just send this card, the one that kind of matches the stuff, and it's pretty flat. Like, I don't think it'd even be a problem. Like, it's really, really thin. It's really flat. It's much less than an ounce. I can already tell just like lifting it. So I don't think it'd be any problem at all. So basically, Marilyn, Elvis, and Grace are, they're just there for looks. The one who's holding all the way is John. John's the one that's going to get the envelope to Cynthia. Elvis, Grace, and Marilyn are just along for the ride. Put it that way. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and slide this envelope in like this so I don't lose them. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that because I still have to photograph this to share for the thumbnail. All right. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this live stream. If you're interested in picking up the stencils that I used for this envelope, they will be listed down in the video description in the supplies. Unless you're looking right now and then it won't have the dot stencil, I'm going to add that. But anyway, I'm going to do a quick spiel for those watching the edited replay. Actually, I don't know. Am I doing an edited replay on this one? I don't know that I will. I have a really busy day tomorrow. In fact, I almost canceled the live tonight because I'm on a design deadline. So, and I really did not have time, but I wanted to do it and wanted to come be with you all. So, no edited replay for this for tomorrow. Well, never say never, but whatever. All right. Maybe I should do a little spiel for those just in case I do the edited replay. Let's do that. Let's do it. So here's the finished envelope for today. Love all those postage stamps. I love this arrangement with all these colors. Cynthia, I love it so much. Thanks so much for letting me use your address, and I'll get this in the mail as soon as I can. If you were interested in the splash stencil or the gradual dots stencil, I'll have those and all of the supplies listed down below in the video description. You can check those out. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. All right, I'm going to close up the live, and I'm going to go have some dinner. I hope all of you find some time to craft sometime soon. I'm going to take a little drink here. If you guys have a question, this would be a great time to ask it as I'm just leaving here. I don't think oh my word, Clara, I still have mine. You sent it to me 7 years ago, still in perfect condition, and I treasure it. That's so great. Sometimes I remember like when that someone has like a particular name or something like that. I'm like, oh, I remember that one. Let's see here. Yes, Andrew, I should mention this. If you have a crazy design, put it in a clear envelope and add a label with the address to the front of that. Just make sure you have postage on the clear. Yes, absolutely. Like I have these holographic envelopes, and they're crazy. Like they're beautiful, but they make your eyes go funny sometimes if you're looking at them too long. And I have mailed them successfully when I put them in a clear like cello bag, like a clear envelope. And then I put a big old label on it with the address, clearly legible, maybe even just print it on my computer, and put the postage stamps on the outside of that clear envelope. And then they do arrive, and it's not a problem. But crazy ones like, or you know, or to put it in another envelope, put it in a bigger envelope. You know, it won't go through the mail like specifically with the outside, but it's kind of fun. Okay. Tammy, remember when that was Judikin's Glaze? I think I still have a jar. It lasts forever. You know what? It does last forever, but who's the crazy person who's gone through 3 of the jars? That'd be me. Over the years. I mean, I've been doing mail art pretty consistently since about 2018. So it's been about 8 years. Let's see here. When is the next mail call? I just had one last week. So usually I'll do a mail call in the somewhere between like the 5th and 10th of the month. So I like to give a little bit of extra time for any mail that needed to be delivered. Somewhere between the 5th and 10th. So somewhere between the 1st and 2nd week of the month. So I won't have another one until June. Okay. What type of acrylic markers did I use? Those were Grabie. I really love this brand. I saw them on TikTok of all places, and I've just been really impressed with them over my Karen pigment markers. I just think they have a better flow of ink, and they just work so well. I've really loved them. In fact, this is like an older set. I don't know if they still sell this one. They have like newer ones, newer sets that have more colors. So yeah, I might even need to order some. Although just recently, if you guys seen those Disney coloring book videos on Instagram or TikTok, where they take like acrylic markers like this and they're coloring in these like mystery color by number things. I bought a coloring book, or a couple of them actually, for Lila McGuire, Jennifer McGuire's teenage daughter. I bought some for her and then her set of markers. And then I'm like, well, I need one too. So I ordered me a set, and those are really good markers too. So I've just been really impressed with all these newer acrylic markers that are out there. Gina, I have not resent your mail art yet. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it over there. It's sitting on my counter. I have it. I'm going to have to put it in another envelope, but it'll get there. I promise. Let's see here. How do you submit your address for the form for future? The same form that's in the link today. That's linked today. I just look for like what's been submitted within the last 30 days to make sure the addresses are up to date. Let's see here. All right. Betsy, like you took Lila. Exactly. All right, y'all. I've got to go hustle up some grub for me. I'm on my own tonight. My husband's not here, so I've got to go make me some dinner. Have a lovely evening. I hope you find time to do a little crafting and you have a lot of fun. Oh, one more question from Dean Mulford. With Grabie, do the brushstroke show? They do a little bit. You can see that. You can see the brushstrokes a little bit. Depends on the color, really. The coloring books that I've only started one of the pictures. I'm not very far into it. The brushstrokes do show, and you do have to do a couple of coats to cover everything like really opaquely. But I think that's kind of, that's just the nature of the acrylic markers. Like in order to keep the flow of the ink, it has to be a little bit transparent, especially if it's a lighter color. But anyway, have a lovely evening, everyone. Wish me luck at getting my designs done tonight. It's going to be late night. And I will see you all in another video very soon. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks to Cynthia again. Have a great night, everyone.